Most people, when it comes to getting logos created, they speak to their friends. They may know someone who does art, graphic design. They may be a student. There may be someone who doesn't have necessarily as much education on the subject. But then there's other friends that they may have who work in the profession who are good graphic designers. And then there are the other kinds of people who actually DIY the logo themselves. They just attempt to get something done as fast as possible. And sometimes these people actually use outsourcing websites such as Fiverr, People Per Hour. They pay a small fee of $5 or whatever that amount may be, but for a quick kind of cheap logo. Any method is good as long as you've done your research and your results are equal to the quality of your inspiration and application. This is what you need to know. Poor designers don't do enough research, especially if you're just going to pay them $5. Seriously. Now, at the same time, you've got to wonder, like, the $5 method, how can these people actually be creating logos? Well, in English, pounds for like £3 or £4, how I'm going to show you methods that I am aware of, that how people on Fiverr actually create logos quickly and cheap. And so here's an example. There is websites such as logomaker.com, and they are the kind of DIY your logos and that sort of thing. And these people on Fiverr or on outsourcing websites, they do actually come to these sites to get them done. You can get these apps on your phone now that do a similar thing. But let me take you through the process. So they go on here and it asks, choose your industry. What is your company name? What is your company tagline? And that's an optional thing. And the logo type. So the kind of logo that may be. But let me show you the section. So you choose your industry, and you've got so whatever field that may be and stuff. So I've done a quick example here. So marketing and communications, the business name being Gwilts, my tagline being awesome designs, and I've put creative art as the final category. And this essentially is like a kind of Google search, and it will bring up kind of the images and things like that kind of relate to that kind of particular field. And when you look in the search your logos bit in the top right hand corner with the magnifying glass, that's where you see like the potential words that you could have used as well on that previous screen. So cat, dog, bakery, salon. But boom, you fill in this information and you're faced with all these potential logos. And a lot of these you will see on Fiverr and other places and that. And they really are the kind of quick method and of getting a logo done. And you know what? Some of them do actually look quite nice. Now, just to from an aesthetic point of view, this is pretty terrible. But you've got, so you pick an icon. You can actually select the logo layout. That's the step 2. So you pick an arrangement that you're happy with. So it's very easy. Click and select, and you can tweak that logo. You can resize. You can change the fonts. You can change the spacing, the letter spacing, and things like that, and change the colors, etc. So you can actually create a full-on logo with these very simple tools. And once you've got a logo that you're happy with, all of this only taking like maybe 3 minutes, 5 minutes, depending on how over the top you go and how long you search. But then they ask, would you like a matching business card? And so you can pick your business card, and boom, you've already got like your own branding for your business, your own kind of theme going on. And finally, like this silly thing is they ask you, have you got your domain? Have you got like in this example gwilts.com? Now, this to me is backwards. You don't want to be thinking about a domain last. This is something early stages where you're deciding. You need to know if you've got a website domain that you can purchase, or even look into it as to how much it might cost and things. But yeah, so but this is how business owners or people on Fiverr kind of get stuff done, for clients, and help things move forward. And there are other sites, as I mentioned, some that even look a bit fancier and look a bit more modern with the typography examples. But yeah, there's these anyway. Now, when graphic designer, logo designers are looking for quality logos, Logo Pond exhibits some very professional logo designer logos, and it's a very good site for finding examples of logos that you need to aspire towards. Not all of them are good, but they are a modern feel, a much more kind of premium example, more than what you would be able to get necessarily from a $5 person. And then there is Behance.net. Behance.net is amazing. This is where students, graphic designers, all people in the creative industry put their portfolios up on here. And these are people that you can actually reach out to. And so if, for example, you did like some of the styles, like the space example that you can see in the bottom right, or in the top left, you've got the very abstract kind of design. If there is design work that you particularly like, that kind of feel you have a real connection with in terms of what your brand is looking to do, then Behance.net is a fantastic place to be a part of, and to sort of raise your standards in terms of your execution, how you look, how you feel. And then of course DNAD.com, who are essentially like the BAFTAs of all graphic design, and they will have logo designs on there as well that you can check out. So the most commonly asked question I get is, what do you think of my logo? And this is quite a tough question to answer, because there's so many factors involved, and I personally have to get really involved within the logo, within the business, within what it is that we're trying to communicate, before being able to just simply answer like, is it a good logo? But here's all these things that I use to judge what makes a good logo. And here we go. So firstly, we've got the execution, how it looks. I mean, this is the obvious part, is it pretty? Is it dynamic? Does it have like a kind of geometric shape about it? Is it stylish? Is it clever? Is it something that I've seen before? Is the lettering, the fonts, the typography, the typeface modern or relevant? Is there a reason for it to be the way that it is? Now, is it aligned and is it symmetrical? When you look at the FedEx logo, it's a great example. There's just so many lines. If you bring out a ruler, you can see all these sharp edges, and they've really thought about this in terms of like how it's going to look on their packaging, which is typically rectangular, boxes and things. So what makes more sense than to have a logo that kind of fits the kind of vibe and the style and the appearance of what it is that is going to be placed on more often than not. And this looks great on everything that they do, to be honest. But yeah, it's a very clever, thoughtful logo. And then, as I mentioned before, we've got the is it geometric? They say that all good logos are actually built from shapes, or there's a kind of elegance about all kind of geometrical shapes. And when you apply this within your logo, that's when you see like a kind of aesthetic beauty about it. And when you kind of use this kind of style, it really reinforces the logo and gives it an elegance and a beauty. So here we've got the Twitter logo, how they built it, and this is how it's done. It's very clever. It's very thoughtful, and this is stuff that you're just not gonna get if you're lucky from someone on Fiverr. Then we have this example. It's amazing how you can just start with simple shapes and create something that's very clever and thoughtful. And then we look at the logo itself. How versatile is it? Does it work in black and white? Can you reverse it? Can you inverse it? If it's working, how many colors are you going to use? How's it going to look on a white background? How's it going to look on a black background? These are all elements that you need to think about, because if you're going to be overlaying these on, for example, on photos and things like that, you're always going to be dealing with different contrasts of colors that surround the logo, and having a logo that is versatile in this way is essential. And then a good logo, if I shrink it to the size of a stamp, can I still read it? Will it work on any medium? Is it functional? If you're going to be building a brand like we did, how are you going to be applying this logo? Is it going to be signage? Is it going to be on window graphics? What locations is it going to appear? Is it going to be positioned, like on this example on the left, with other logos side by side with it frequently? So having a future understanding of this is like, your logo will still be compared to others, and having a very clear, vibrant, simple logo is important for your branding. Does it flow? The way Coca-Cola has done it with their logo, there's a very fun, kind of friendly feel about this logo. Is this the kind of vibe that you would want for your logo? And then considering the website that you're going to be creating, how is it going to sit on your website? Will it work in that top left hand corner? Does it look like an object or a symbol? Can I figure out what the business or the service does from the logo? So here we've got Wiselock on the left, for a security system solutions, and then you've got on the right an Mac Electrics company, and these are very, very clever position logos. Does it have a tagline or a slogan? Tesco, every little helps. Absolutely amazing. There's the way that they've been able to apply, if you're looking for a brand looking at a business in terms of branding perspective, Tesco is one of the best. And then McDonald's, I'm loving it. Nike, Just Do It. All these are great examples of what a slogan can do for your business. And then colors, even the colors. This is something personally I strongly recommend that you leave until last. If your logo works in black and white, then you can make it work in any color afterwards. It's just about kind of, once you do pick the colors, there is a sense of color theory that does follow through with all these different brands and businesses out there. And what you will notice from the singular colours or the plain colours, such as Apple, Puma and Nike, that are just either black or white, just very simple. We've also got the multicolour, such as Google, eBay, Windows. They've gone for this, for a suggestion of diversity in terms of their brand, their business. And once you've got your logo, you put that logo at the center of your competition, surround it by all the other businesses that you are associated with, and then you look at it and you think, does it fit in? Do you want it to fit into that industry? If you're going for a corporate route, then perhaps fitting in is the way to go. However, if you're looking to build a brand that's maybe more creative and diverse, then standing out might be the way to go. Do this exercise and you will see you play this kind of spot the difference, and things become much clearer after you've done this exercise. And you need to surround it by modern logos as well, actually. The logos that you see on the top row are from Logo Pond, such as the gym's logo, the cargo. These are more modern ones. But actually, and we've also got international logos as well amongst these ones. So don't just think what's local, what's whatever. You've got to be looking at leading brand logos. How I outsource and get quality results, and you can too. It wasn't until I discovered this method that someone actually showed me this example, and I realized that this was what I was doing subconsciously. And this is what most creative logo designers do subconsciously anyway. They if you look at this example here, we have so the name of the business is Live Aid, and that they looked at it in like capitals, in lowercase, using just the first two letters, the L and the A, and they put all of it into the top line. And then in the second line, they selected musical instruments, because that's what their business was about as well, what was kind of visually seen. And then they selected pictures of like musical notes and things. And notice that all of these are very simple drawn items, like icons, and it's that simplicity. And then you've got the globe, so all the pictures, different areas and things. And then they have the picture elements. You've got all the Africa symbols, and then the animals, and finally they looked at like patterns. And notice what was circled. We have the Africa, we have the guitar head, and we have the Live Aid in capitals. These three elements were pulled together, and we get the Live Aid logo. Now, it's a very powerful, creative, clever method, and this in my opinion is the way to design logos. Let me show you. Like, that example was 3 items combined into one that made a very powerful logo. Continental, the C and the O creating the wheel, the tire. And then here's one of the logos that I did for Yo-Yo Noodle, and it was as simple as combining just one object, the chopsticks, to the logo. And sometimes it really is just that simple, just one object plus your text plus your word. Combine the two, and then you get the logo. What I've done is I've actually created a PowerPoint slide document that you can use yourself, and you can actually do what you've just seen there. Let me break this down for you. You research and find symbols and a concept. I suggest you do this before you pick a name. You don't even need to have a name at this point, and I'll come on to that in a second. But research before everything. I highly recommend this. You research from the very beginning. You find possible symbols, possible icons, or concepts and letters that hold meaning, e.g. A to Z, and then come up with the name. This will make sense in a second. Now, this was the method when you work backwards and you look at a logo. I was looking at this. This is perhaps my favorite logo of all time. It is so clever and strong, and this only captures a few of the elements actually. But you know, they put all these different searches into Google. So they put amazing service, maybe A to Z. They did gift. They thought international delivery. They thought friendly, products and shopping. And then they start to see the patterns, like what we just did in that Live Aid diagram. And what did they create? The Amazon logo. Now that wasn't even everything about this logo. There is multiple. And you know, the word Amazon in itself suggests vast. We've got the smiley face, the happy customer. Notice how the arrow looks like the swooping pattern that you will see in the international delivery section of the aeroplane. The arrow could essentially represent the aeroplane, the delivery, the smile, and the A to Z. Now, maybe they didn't have a name before they did all this research, and they thought, what words in the dictionary contain A and Z? Maybe. But what you need to understand is that none of this would have been possible if they had had the logo in the first place. What happens a lot of the time with logo designs is someone throws a logo, a name of a business, a name at the designer, and then they say, create the logo for this name. Now, personally, I feel that there is much more creativity and possibility when you actually leave the naming of the business, or at least it is done in sync with all of the methods, and you are still open to naming, you are still open to this. Now, let me elaborate further anyway. But finally, like Amazon as well, you think Amazon rainforests, you think trees, you think vast. There's so many things going on in this logo that is clever, and yeah, this is my favorite logo, and this is what I always point to and aspire towards doing. But what word could I use to fit into the symbol in my logo? So that's how the Continental logo was done, as mentioned before. And I just want to point out, like, make sure you get the .com, make sure you can get the trademark. If you're serious about building a brand, you need both. The longer you leave it, the harder and more expensive it gets. If you know someone who's got that domain that you really want, and it's £100 right now, if you spend years building up the business and you still haven't bought that domain, or you still haven't bought that trademark, by the time you approach those people, they will research you, and then they will tell you how much more expensive it's going to be to now buy that trademark or to now buy that .com. So don't leave this till last. The best time to get your trademark done is now, not tomorrow. The longer you leave it, the more you will pay in the future. But it's up to you. You decide. Now, GJS Surface Restoration. This was another one, and you know, it's a very clever solution came about, and fortunate. You know, they came to me with this name, and I was fortunate and able to find a way to find an icon that fits into it. And it was as simple as going onto Google and typing restore icon, and the restore icon created the G shape in GJS. And you know, sometimes it really is just a simple solution like this can be the answer. However, I this was one of my recent clients, International Swimming Academy, and this is the most that I have ever compiled into a logo to date. Now, I challenge anyone to match this or do more than this, but yes, International Swimming Academy are all about teaching babies and young children how to swim from a very young age, and they teach a very unique method where they teach kids how to float on their backs first and essentially float like a starfish, and that's actually like the center point of what it is that they do. And so I was able to incorporate the starfish. So in this logo we have starfish, the heart that represents like the kind of the vibe, the love, the care of the customer service, the whole feel of a family, of being a part of International Swimming Academy. And we also have the fear element, the diving board essentially that could be suggested in the I. We have the whale, which is the A, and it's more abstract. It's not necessarily obvious, but the reason why it does feel right is because you can sense it, you can almost see it. And then you have like this kind of champion attitude, so like the star also representing like the kind of number one on the podium, being the top. We've got the wave shapes, which you may be able to see under the I, the S, and the A. We've got the wave, the water feel. So coming back to the kind of Coca-Cola kind of feel, like the shapes, the water, the aqua kind of sense. And we also have the love, and once again with the swans. So all these elements were within this logo, and it's a very powerful thing that you can do.